Hi guys, welcome to today's episode of A to Z Lifestyle. Today we're talking about a topic that has been with us for a while now. I remember being in primary or JSS and talking about environmental degradation. But then the issues were there, and fast forward to where we are now. Are the issues still the same? Has it gotten worse? Do you have new threats on the horizon? Stick and stay. I'm speaking with Restore Local. All right, so having me, Albert Bar Esuma. Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Great. So tell us about this initiative, Restore Local.
So Restore Local is an initiative that supports locally led land restoration activities across Ghana. The initiative is now expanding to include policymakers, local entrepreneurs, local leaders in our communities, and some more NGOs to support in restoring degraded lands across Ghana. My organization happened to be one of the few organizations that is leading restoration in Ghana. EcoCare Ghana, where I work, we are currently working in Offenso North Municipal Assembly. We are also working in the Offenso Municipal Assembly, and then we are working in Techiman Municipal Assembly. So we are working in the 3 districts, the 2 Offenso districts and the Techiman Municipal Assembly.
So what are the peculiar challenges in terms of environment when we're looking at Offenso and Techiman?
When you go, so we call that space the transition landscape. You know, broadly, Ghana has 3 landscapes. So there's one project we are also working on that is looking at the savanna landscape that is from the north to somewhere Kintampo, Techiman area, and then the Sui Valley, the river valley, river landscape, which is also around the western north, the thick forest zones, and then the transition landscape. Now the transition landscape is the landscape between the 2 extremes, the savanna and the challenges here are that over time, activities of man, you know, as you rightly said, the farming activities, galamsey, bad land use, unsustainable agricultural practices are degrading the land. So you hear farmers complaining of low yields. You hear people complaining of hikes in food prices. The Akomadan we know isn't the same Akomadan that we have now. So tomato production is going down. Yeah, it's a lot of other factors, but we believe and we know that climate is a key factor in low yields across Ghana.
I mean, when I look at you, you're pretty young. So what motivated you to take part in Restore Local?
The impact we make, the lives that we can change. If care is not taken, that the natural scientists will tell you, very soon we will lose our vegetation to climate. A lot of the things that are happening now can actually be dealt with. It's either we mitigate or we adapt, especially when it comes to climate change. My motivation is to see impact. It's to see people or lands restored back to the original state, at least to the original states. Ghana boasts, you know, the green in our flag is the rich green vegetation, the agricultural, that's what we learned. But over time, we are losing it. We are losing it to galamsey, we are losing it to bad agricultural practices, we are losing it to urbanization, we are losing it to quite a number of factors. And Restore Local seeks to restore the lands that the vegetations that we are losing, make the lands fertile again. So we are planting trees, we are training farmers on climate smart agriculture, and we are doing quite a number of things to make sure that the lands come back to how they were, so that we can still be proud of the green in our flag.
I mean, when you talk about restore, it makes it look so simple. Is it really that simple?
It's not.
So what are some of the things that really go into it, from the very basic level to maybe a more advanced level in terms of restoring depleted land?
A lot of work goes into restoration, from selecting the tree species that need to be planted, from nursing them, from distributing the seedlings, to planting them, to maintaining them and caring for them till they grow. At EcoCare, we say we don't just plant trees, we grow trees. So our work starts and ends with seeing a fully matured tree out there, and so it involves quite a lot. Field trips, funding, technical, some resources, and that is what Restore Local brings on board. Because growing trees is like farming, but you are not getting any yields. It's like when you are building and your father tells you that building is an investment. When the money goes to the site, it doesn't come back. It looks like you're throwing it away. That is exactly how restoration is. So Restore Local equips the local people, equips organizations, NGOs and all of that with the funding, with the technical advice, with the resources that are needed, with training and quite a number of things. So it's quite a huge task, but that is made minimal with the support from Restore Local.
All right, now that you're talking about support from Restore Local, using your organization as an example, how has it been able to support you over the period?
So at EcoCare, we say we are a rights-based campaign and advocacy organization. We rights-based.
Right opposed to left?
No, as in people's rights.
Okay, all right.
So we say we are a rights-based advocacy and campaign organization. Now, after several years of advocacy and campaigning and looking at forest, we realized that we need to do more, not just the campaigning and advocacy. We need to do more in restoring these lands. Without the support of Restore Local, it wouldn't have been an easy task, because as an NGO, we have limited funding. We don't make money. We solicit for money from donors, our partners, support from all over to do what we need to do on the ground. Restoration, as I said, involves quite some funding, and Restore Local brings the funding on board. Again, Restore Local helps in the monitoring of all the activities that are going on. Terra Match, for example, so there's a dashboard for monitoring trees that have been planted, and Terra Match makes that easy. So somebody like me, I go to the field, I do my enumeration, I do all the study, I pick all the data. I come back to the office. I need to analyze and process that data. Yes, I can do that by myself, but the Terra Match platform makes that easy. Again, Restore Local provides the training, the technical training. Before we got involved with Restore Local, we had to actually use analog machines to take polygons, and polygons are the shape files, the maps of the farms we are planting. But because of Restore Local, there are other apps that have been introduced that you just go to the farm, walk around the farm, and it captures the map for you. And it's able to analyze, use satellite imagery to analyze which trees are surviving and which trees are not, and where efforts need to be focused to achieve some of the results that we want in restoration.
Good. So how long has your relationship with Restore Local been? Because as for me, I only found out about it some few months ago when they did an activity in the Eastern. So how long have you had this relationship with them?
Okay, so we have a 5-year relationship with them. We actually in the 4th year, so by 1 year. But the relationship started with AFR 100, and AFR 100 simply means 100 million trees in Africa. So AFR Africa, and then 100. And there's a group of a consortium of organizations that are raising funds all over. Now, the AFR project itself, I'm sure it's ending. So Restore Local is coming to entrench the work and deepen what is being done. So our relationship with Terra Fund for AFR 100 up until Restore Local is like 5 years. But we are hopeful that a lot of other organizations like EcoCare Ghana would join Restore Local, because the work that needs to be done down there or up there in the field is quite a lot. Few organizations can't do that. And that is why it is important for other organizations to get involved, support the local people in the communities to restore their own lands.
I like that you're saying that the work involved is quite a lot. And in doing so, what have been some of the challenges? Do you face any challenges in trying to restore these degraded land?
My grandfather used to say that whatever you do, good or bad, you face challenges. So now that we are doing good, definitely there are challenges. The climate we are trying to mitigate itself is a challenge. Because of the unpredictability of the weather, we are unable to plant properly. Yes, you'll be able to plant. Traditionally, if you want to raise seedlings, that's the tree seedlings for planting. You do that. By now, we should have potted every seed that we want to plant. We should have done the quality assurances on the seeds. They should be ready in the pots, polypods. But when it gets to planting, so usually planting is supposed to be done June, July, August. Sometimes the rain will fail. So what it means is that if you go down there and you plant and the rains don't come, you are losing the seedlings, and that is funding. My last calculation check was a tree is about 0.66 cents. So what it means is that, and you know, when you peg the dollar against the cedi, it's huge. And if you are doing 300,000 seedlings, you can imagine how much, and you lose 100,000 or you lose 50,000, you can imagine how much you have lost. So the weather is one of the biggest challenges. The other challenge is farmers' understanding of the whole idea, what exactly we are trying to do. You know, one of the biggest reasons for degradation is agriculture. So farmers, in the bid to increase production, will now expand the lands into forests and buffers and places that they are not supposed to farm. Some farmers still believe that, oh, let's go ahead, we can use fertilizers, we can use weedicide, we can use all of those things. And that causes issues, because you give a farmer seedlings to plant and you give him all the training in climate smart agriculture, and you tell him, look, don't apply weedicide. You come back to Accra, you go, some are applying weedicide. So they end up killing the seedlings that you have provided. So that's also one big challenge. Now, there's also lack of protection and land tenure. So some farmers, especially when it comes to the transition landscape where we work, some of the farmers are from the north. They don't own lands. So they come, they get lands on tenure, on agreements with the landowners. And then you sell the idea to them for restoration. They accept it. But the landowners might be, because some see trees, especially the kind of trees we grow, as property. So when sorry for that. So when you give them seedlings, they end up having issues with all their landowners and all of that, and that is also one big issue. But one of the biggest is galamsey and sand winning. You are always not able to tell when that part of the land is going to explode for gold. So that's also, and basically those are the challenges that we have.
So what type of trees are you growing, and why those types?
Okay, we do a lot of the indigenous trees. You know, when it comes to landscapes, there are trees that are peculiar to every landscape. For example, there are trees that do well in the high forest zones. There are trees that also do well in the transition landscape, and there are trees that do well up north. You do a lot of research to find out which trees are native to the tree. So we call them indigenous trees that are native to the landscapes. So you get high quality seeds and all of that. So basically we do native trees. Then we also do fruit trees. So the mangoes, sometimes we do cash crops. So we do the cashew, we may do a little bit of a cocoa and all of that. The indigenous trees we do mahogany, oframo, it's indigenous, so we have to use the local names so that people know and are clear.
Do you still do neem trees? Because recently I was telling someone that I haven't seen a neem tree in a long time, but growing up, neem trees are very common.
For I don't know. But I have been seeing neem trees around the ministry's area. I don't know if we decided to use neem trees as ornament.
Probably.
But
growing up, I saw a lot more. But
yes,
it's not
but when you go to the landscapes, not in Accra, you see a lot of neem trees. When you go to the landscapes, you see very few of those, and people don't deliberately plant neems. That is because, apart from doing the indigenous trees, you're also looking at trees that are of economic value. So, for example, if you are doing woodlots, you may want, and woodlot means that you are using the land basically for wood. You are planting a lot of trees. So if you are doing woodlots, basically what it means is that in the next 15 years or 20 years, when the trees are matured, the farmer should be able to go and harvest 2 or 3. We are not saying go and cut everything down. That would defeat the purpose. But if it is woodlots, go and then harvest maybe 2 or 3 and then use it because it has economic value. Then also there's this initiative from the Ghana Cocoa Board and their counterparts in Ivory Coast. That's the CFI, Cocoa Forest Initiative, that has a stipulated number of trees to grow per hectare. I think it's between 18 to 28. So what it means is that for every hectare of cocoa farm, you should have at least 18 trees on it, and that boosts cocoa production. So your yields will go up. That has been scientifically proven by a research by Cocoa Board. So you want to do trees with economic value. I don't think neems have
medicinal.
Medicinal, but economic. I doubt.
Probably turn into a money-making medicine.
Before we can say that it has economic value.
Yeah. So I mean, when you grow the trees, what measures do you put in place to ensure that they survive and grow?
Making sure trees survive start with the quality of seedlings you pick. So the number one measure to ensure survival is seed selection. There's been instances where we've nursed close to 200,000 trees and we got a little above 150,000 seedlings surviving, meaning there were some seeds that were not of high quality. They couldn't survive, even though the nurseries are always under controlled environments. You determine how much sun it gets and all of that, and the water, you're always watering. It's not as if the trees are in the forest and they have to survive on their own. This one, you are catering for it. You are taking care of it. So if you have 200,000 seedlings nursed and you get a little above 150,000, it means close to 50,000 didn't survive. So the first step to take to ensure survival is to select high quality seeds. The next one is to provide the local people with the training that they need to care for the seedlings once it moves from the nursery to the farm. So we give a lot of training to the farmers as well. We give maintenance training, we give land preparation training, because there's a way you need to prepare the land. Don't forget, I'm saying that application of fertilizer and weedicide also causes harm to the land. And then when you plant it, and so there's a way you need to you need to care for the land or prepare the land before you can plant. So we don't actually require them or ask them to apply weedicide to clear the land. So you prepare, you do the climate smart agriculture. Mm-hmm. You do some mulching, you clear the land, and then you leave the weeds to die on it and fertilize the land before that. So land preparation training also goes into it. That's in a bunch climate smart agriculture. Then we give training on maintenance. So the farmers need to know how to maintain the seedlings once they are on the farm. If it was in the nursery, it's a controlled environment. You determine how much sunlight it gets, you determine how much. But once you move it from the nursery to the farm, you need to maintain it. One good way of maintaining it is within circles around it.
Circles.
Around the trees. Once you move it from the nursery, you put it on the farm. Okay. And you are caring for it. You can't say you are planting, so you are going to clear the whole land. But you go around and you clear a ring around the tree, each tree, so that it doesn't get to compete with weeds and all of that. That's the first one. The second one is that when the time comes for you to maybe plant something alongside the trees, because when they are young, they benefit from other crops on the farm. For example, in Bonsu, we've noticed that all the farms, Bonsu is in the Offenso Municipal Assembly. Some people call it Offenso South, but the rights is Offenso Municipal Assembly. Those who planted in pawpaw farms, because the pawpaw farms served as canopies, all those trees are doing amazing. Okay. So we also encourage people to do some intercropping. But if you are going to clear the land for intercropping and you've not done the rings and you give it to laborers, by the time you realize, they'll cut all the trees because some are not able to decipher which one is a tree that has been planted and which one is a weed at that young age. So we do a lot to ensure high survival rates. At EcoCare, for example, we are young but very loud. We are always saying that as we speak, we can guarantee at least 82% survival rate, because the farmers go through the training. The seedlings, high quality seeds are nursed. The seedlings are supplied by us, so there are no shocks and there are no a lot of the challenges that other people will face. And then we train them to maintain them as well. So with all our sites, we are sure that we have a lot of seed surviving, tree surviving on the farms.
Great. So how would you say working with Restore Local has changed your perception about conservation? I mean, you're already in conservation.
Yes.
But how was...
You saw my reaction to the question. Okay. Technically, I'm not a natural science person. I'm in the space because I do a lot of data analysis and I do a lot of... So being in the space and the support, the training and all of that from Restore Local has really shaped my perspective on restoration. My background is into business. I'm a businessman. So when I joined my organization as EcoCare, as head of monitoring, evaluation and learning, I really had to unlearn what I knew and then relearn what is reality when it comes to restoration. And that has actually changed my perspective. Trees are no more, they are part of the bigger issue of survivor, human survivor. You know, when they say when the last tree dies, the last man, so you have to plant your own tree and make sure nobody cuts it, because when they cut it, they are killing you. That working with Restore Local has actually shaped my perspective. Poverty amongst farmers are some of the highest, and the key factor there is low yields. The key reason for low yields is climate. One of the key factors for climate, or one of the best ways to fight climate naturally, is to plant trees. So we say restoration is a nature-based solution to climate mitigation. And my understanding of that, now I probably want to go into farming. And then I want to do a lot of agroforestry, where you mix trees with crops and all of that, because both of them give you some yields with some economic value.
Great. So if you had a message for somebody who wants to go into restoration, what would that be?
Start. Just start. Whether it's big or small, whether it's a tree, whether it's one plot, whether... when you talk to restoration champions, or when you talk to people in agroforestry, they tell you there are trees that you can plant in your house that won't affect your house in any way negatively. But it will bring a lot of, for example, trees with roots that, some people cut trees in their house because they think that the roots would break the building and all of that. I've seen that you don't have a tree here, so.
Oh, there's a big pear tree.
Oh, nice. That's nice.
Avocado.
That's nice. So I'll come and fetch when pear starts. When the season for pear comes, I'll pay you a visit. I will intentionally pay you a visit. But that is good. Such trees don't cause harm to the buildings that we have. But some people think that trees cause harm. So if he has a tree in his house, he cuts it off but you can actually have trees that won't affect your house negatively. So if you want to go into restoration, start. Don't wait. If it is in your own small way, in whichever way, just start. Start planting something. And that will help. If you want partnerships, if you want to learn more, you can see any of the Restore Local champions, whether it's local people on the ground or the organizations in Accra. You can come to EcoCare. We are always open. We would have a nice conversation and make sure that at least you start. That's the most important thing for us.
Cool. In terms of support, is government helping and stakeholders helping, and what can they do to support?
So government stakeholders, for the advocacy bit of it, the NGOs are doing very well. We are doing very well. From Forest Watch, and I can mention because EcoCare is part of Forest Watch. From Forest Watch, Forest Watch is a platform for all organizations and individuals that are interested in forest-related issues and matters. They are always working to make sure that our forests are safeguarded, are safe, and all of that. So Forest Watch, I know the Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform, that EcoCare is a convener to where we train cocoa farmers in a lot of these issues. We do climate advocacy and all of that. So for the advocacy bit of it and the campaign bit of it with the NGOs, it's really thriving. It's working. They are there. But we'd want more. We'd want more from private sector. We want private sector to partner. Not EcoCare, if we get partnership, we'll be very happy. But not just us. You can partner other young NGOs like IDE. IDE is a small NGO I think it's in the central region. They are doing an amazing job. You can partner IDE. You can partner any of the NGOs. If you want a list of small NGOs, you can also contact EcoCare, or you can ask to visit the Forest Watch platform or meeting, and then you get in touch with some of them. From government, we want policy. After restoration, it will be disheartening to hear that an LI has been passed to grant prospecting permits to miners to prospecting forests. Something we are trying to protect. We also think that the government should have policies to protect restored lands. You see, so when the local people restore some piece or some parcel of land, there should be some protection for it. Galamsey shouldn't go and come back and say, we are coming back to check if there's gold. They would destroy the work. Years, sometimes decades of work that people have done. So we need policy. Elsewhere, there are artificial forests. People have deliberately grown forest from scratch, from nothing. And without policy, it won't be possible. So if we have such policies in Ghana, we could definitely have forests, and this would be an amazing journey for all of us.
Great. So what would you say is the importance of locally led initiatives?
Locally led initiative has one major significance. It is so important to undertake locally led restoration because they co-own the project. They own it. So, for example, EcoCare is in Accra. We have a satellite office in Techiman. We have personnel in Techiman. But eventually, they will leave. So if the projects in Techiman, in Offenso Municipal and Offenso North are not locally led, it means that when we leave, the project halts. But if it is locally led, the people begin to own it. The people are capacitated over the period of the project. The people are aware of the consequences of cutting down the trees. They know the beauty in getting it. And there's been a lot of trainings for them. So they begin to appreciate the effort at restoring their lands. If it is not locally led, once you leave, the project is gone. The same farmer. Oh, he wanted to plant. Oh, I mean, I wanted to plant on my land. He said he will plant it for 5 years. Oh, so I gave it to him for 5 years. I mean, it's gone, right? Okay, then what next? Child, let me cut it and grow maize. And that's after 5 years. And 5 years, trees are not that matured. Trees take between 10 to 25 years to get fully matured. So if it is locally led, these people begin to, first of all, appreciate their effort in the work. They own the project and they keep growing the project. I'll give you this example. There's a community in Offenso Municipal called Chebi. It's not a Chebi we went to. There's a community called Chebi. Now, Chebi is one of our very best communities. They are not the overall best. Okay, maybe we can do some grading. But they are one of our best communities. And we call them one of the best because we help them to raise seedlings for restoration. 2 years after we have halted the nursery, because we had achieved some of our targets and we're moving to other communities. 2 years after halting the nursery, the local people themselves have established nurseries to continue the work that we started with them. And when you go, we tell you, yo, we are growing the trees for our children. See, now the weather, the heat, Charlie, if we don't grow these trees, by the time we die and go, our children will not have anywhere to farm. And you know what? This place is not even closer to Kumasi. Nobody wants to buy a land here for anything. What it means is that they've bought into the idea, and even in our absence, they are going to make sure that restoration goes on. And that is why it is important to have the project restored locally, so that the people there themselves would do the work instead of somebody from Accra telling them what to do.
I mean, I was going to ask you, my last question to be like, rate what your success has been like, but you've pretty much already said it. So I think we leave it there. So you heard it from the boss himself, and I hope he's convinced you that in your own little corner, you can start little and really leave a lasting impact on restoring our lands. So stick and stay for more amazing content on the A to Z show, only on Ameyaw TV. Bye-bye.